Hello YouTube, my name is Caden. I'm alongside here with a fellow Commander player,
Harley.
and we are going to talk some more Magic today because that's always a fun thing to talk about, right?
Sure.
So, pre-release happened a few weeks back, and unfortunately this one wasn't there to do it, but I was, and I had fun. I decided to do the two-headed giant version of it, and me and my partner took third. I played a kind of control-y type of build, while my partner did a very aggressive, hit you with the face type of build. Um, so it was quite fun. I kind of like to think of the new mechanics in it, like surge, a reverse kind of uh, miracle. Um, but after that, it's uh, the set seems pretty fun and lively, and unfortunately, this one has not had a chance to check up on any of the new
Not all
cards.
of them, anyways.
Yeah, not all of them. He hasn't really gotten a chance to get his hands dirty with Oath.
No.
But yeah, they're quite fun cards. Kozilek is an asshole, so people that are playing Kozilek, I don't 100% like you very much. But
Tell them what that card is.
okay, Kozilek the Great Distortion is 8 colorless. Now, like in Battle for Zendikar, colorless is now represented by pretty much a Hedron or diamond type of thing in a mana form, and it pretty much now generic and colorless are two separate things. Now, Kozilek is a 12/12 with Menace. Now, Menace says it can only be blocked by 2 or more creatures. But it also has a couple other abilities. Like when it enters the battlefield, it looks at your hand, and if you have less than 7 cards, you get to draw up to 7 cards. So control players are definitely going to like that. Yeah, this guy over here. And then he also has another ability that says discard a card, counter target spell unless controller plays X, where X is the CMC of discarded spell. So if you don't have any mana floating but you have a Kozilek, and somebody plays a card that will most likely kill you, you can discard a really high CMC cost in your hand and say, can you pay, the 10 or something to not have this thing be countered? They're like, no, and then they get sad.
Which I like.
Yeah.
Because of the commander deck that I play, the more cards that I discard, I get, it's something that's similar to a experience counter. And at the beginning of my end step, I can pull a card from my graveyard, put it onto the battlefield without paying its mana cost for the amount of the experience counters I have. So it's great. So I like to discard cards. I like having a big graveyard, and so it's awesome.
Oh, you're talking about the black green lady from the new set, right?
Yeah, I can't remember. her name
It's
off,
actually whenever a creature dies,
you put a
experience counter on her, and at the beginning of your
the beginning of your end step.
end step, then you do it.
Yes.
It's not whenever a creature. It's not whenever you discard. It's whenever a
Yes.
creature straight out dies.
Yeah, when a creature dies, but by me discarding cards from my hand, it makes it to where my graveyard gets bigger, and I always discard creatures that way. And I always, in the beginning of the game, I put a whole bunch of, like 1/1s that I can fetch mana if they die or they enter the battlefield and stuff like that. So I play those so I can keep playing them over and over and over again and get them to where they die. And then that way I can bring out my big creatures without having to pay their mana costs.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So the new cards, I've played an FNM or two with them, so they're quite good. Support has definitely saved me a time or two. Support for those people who don't know is you play the card and then you put a 1/1 counter on however many creatures it supports. Like lead by example supports 2, so you get to choose 2 creatures and put a 1/1 counter on each of them, which is nice. It's a nice 2 drop. Puts a permanent buffer on them to give them something, so that way if like somebody's going and I lightning bolt your 3/3, well I'll cast lead by example and I'll give it a +1 counter on it. It's quite fun.
Oh yeah.
Other stuff in Magic related, in Modern, I don't know if you heard about it. Uh, Splayer Twin got banned,
Yes.
and Lotus Bloom got banned.
Yes.
So that's gonna really hurt some of the more tempo-y heavy decks. Like,
Which is why I can't play Modern right now.
but the new decks that are gonna be like, you know, the cream of the crop is gonna be stuff like Red Green Tron, pretty much Tron in general, Storm maybe, other kind of combo-y decks that can kill on turn 4 because nobody has to worry about Splinter Twin anymore. It's quite fun. And apparently an Aya Ugin went up drastically. It's like $40 now,
hmm
which
Well, as more people get into Modern and Commander and stuff like that, the prices of the cards that, it's not necessarily set by Standard anymore.
yeah, well, card prices were never really set by Standard stuff. Like Standard helped. Like
Yes.
the only reason the newest Elspeth was actually worth anything was because she was played heavily in Standard while she was still around.
Yeah.
Because she would always +1, always put 3 permanent dudes onto the battlefield. Neg 3 to constantly board wipe creatures that can kill her,
Yeah.
like Apollo Kranos or any sort of Hydras. Her ulti was just game breaking. It was if you got her to her ulti, you done did something wrong. But like the new Chandra, everybody's going like, oh, she's another Elspeth. She's another Elspeth. No, she's not, guys. She's not anywhere close. Her +1 is you put 2 3/1 elemental creatures with haste that you have to exile at the end of your turn. That immediately is bad because unless you're doing something very aggressive and aggro-y,
Like me.
you're not going to have permanent blockers around. Now, if it was a bit like if it was just 1/1 elementals that stayed, it'd probably be fine. I'd probably go like, okay, not as strong, but still good enough.
But in my deck, she's great.
Yeah, but her Neg 2, I believe, is you discard your hand and draw that many +1. So it's like, oh, I discard 6, I draw 7. And then her ult is pretty much a Neg X that says deal damage equal to X to all creatures. Which, okay, that can kind of help, but unless you're facing up against white weenie kind of decks or pretty much just white weenie or mono red, you're gonna look at she's gonna need to be pumped up a bit to actually deal damage to big creatures, which is quite mean.
Yeah.
But it's she's not terrible. She's no original Innistrad Tybalt, because Tybalt was just terrible. But she's not. She's okay. No Elspeth, but she's okay. Other planeswalkers like Nissa. Nissa I actually think is quite good. Nissa is 1 green for a 3 loyalty planeswalker. Her +1 is put a 0/1 plant onto the battlefield. So permanent blocker that you can usually exploit. And then her neg 1 or neg 2, excuse me, is put a 1/1 counter on all creatures you control. And then her neg 7, which is quite annoying because you can't immediately double season Nissa ult go, is you gain X life and draw X cards, where X is the number of lands you control.
Yes.
So it's quite good because if you're going up against the burn deck, you just are like, I ult my Nissa. Cool, I gain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 life, and I draw 10 cards, and I draw my win condition to kill you. Good game. Game 2? But it's some stuff is okay. Blue and white, don't really seem that strong, but then again, control hasn't been really that strong.
Not lately.
Yeah, not lately. Black, still annoying as ever. Huge CMCs for not much stuff, but it's quite fun to still play with it.
Black green.
Yeah, black greens. Yeah.
My favorite right
now. In Commander news, they've banned Prophet of Kruphix, and this guy doesn't like Prophet of Kruphix being banned, and the mulligan rule has been changed. It is now just a straight mulligan. There's no longer pitching. It's really annoying.
Which means I'm in the process of going through all my decks, trying to get everything back up to keep current. Because right now, most of my decks are not legal to play in tournament style. So I'm...
Then again, we're not really Commander's not really supposed to be a tournament-heavy thing, which we do offer it. Like, if people want to start doing a Commander sort of tournament thing, come on down. We'll set up like a $5 or $4 price range and price it out, whatever like that.
But we need support to do that.
Yeah, which we're hoping that you guys can actually come down and have fun. Because Friday Night Magic is only so fun for a time.
And Modern and Commander and stuff like that you guys want. The good thing about that I find more appealing with Modern and Commander is that
bigger variety and stuff.
Bigger variety, and then once they rotate out of Standard, then I can still play them. Yeah. So it's not like a 3-month stint, 3 to 6 months that you can play these cards. In these other formats, you can play them for a lot longer until they start banning my favorite cards. But other than that, it's good, and it allows for
diversity.
A lot of diversity. You get a lot of really new people that are just getting into Magic that don't really have a whole bunch of money, but their brother or their sister gave them a whole bunch of cards they could put together a deck and go ahead and play. Then you can also people that do a lot more advanced stuff like I do, and some of the friends that I play with, we get to you go more advanced, more different types of combos you can put. It gets more confusing, but at the same time putting together these combos that most people don't think of, and then you play your deck for the first time against somebody who hasn't seen your deck, and they go, how did you do that? And it's fun to explain to them, and it's great.
Also, another thing in a Hero Support news is I am now going to kind of float on certain days, which I will definitely post up on the Hero Support Facebook, float around there and be all like, anybody want to play some card games like Magic? I can kind of get a Pokemon deck together. Any of the new ones like uh, Buddy Fight, I've learned and is actually quite fun. Um, Will Force of Will, which no, not the card Force of Will, the card game. It's quite fun and it's very waifu heavy. A lot of anime chicks. But yeah, that's one's fun, and I'm gonna just kind of do that. Just kind of float around, and um, if you guys want to come down and play some games, I'm always up for it. I will post on Hero Support's Facebook about it when I can. But yeah, that's gonna be quite an interesting thing to do. Another note is game days coming up. Now, to kind of make it interesting, I kind of we're gonna on one of the Friday nights, I'm gonna kind of toss out an idea to everybody there, saying for game day, how about a two-headed giant one? You know, if two-headed giant is gonna be a thing, we are gonna need a total of 8 teams. So
8 or 18?
8 teams. So that's gonna be about 16 people.
Oh, okay.
So if we can make it to 16, we're gonna do two-headed giant. If not, it's just gonna be a regular um, tournament thing, which is kind of like I love game day and everything. Like the mats are awesome, but I liked when they did Theros in Theros, which was fight the Hydra, fight the Minotaur Horde, fight Xenagos. Those were fun. Those were interactive. The single elimination tournaments, I don't like. It's just like it's not fun. Nobody's really happy about it. It's where. But if we can get up to 16 people, I'm pretty sure the shop would be more than willing to do that. It's two-headed giant's actually quite fun, and it's just a really fun format to play.
What day is game day on?
Game day will be on February 13th. It is going to be a free event. It's going to probably start about 2 o'clock.